And that's what I say to young people today. Look at this pandemic, this coronavirus pandemic, It's really tragic because it attacks the old guys. But even worse is the baby boomers had it the easiest of all generations. Their pensions are gone, their 401ks are gone, Social Security is broke, Medicare is broke. So I say to younger people, this pandemic, this crisis is the best thing that ever happened to you. Think about that iPhone. You have more power in that iPhone than I had with my mainframe computer. And then so when I meet people who say, oh, the economy is bad, I said, the only economy is between this year and that year. There's the economy out here. But this is the best time for your generation because you're tech savvy. I'm not tech savvy. This was made for you guys. The old guys like me are being cleaned out by the pandemic. The way is clear for you. Now, the old guys are gone. They're dead. What are you going to do about it? So it's really a great time, but exactly the bad times are leading to the best times. You can see it. But unfortunately, as you know, there's a lot of your generation and younger, they'll never recover. They're going to see this as the worst of time. Or more important, who's your teachers? That's why I keep saying to the millennials, they're a pack of wimps. I meet millennials who are just horrifyingly weak. Snowflakes, I call them. They go to college, they're taught trigger events. I don't know what they say today, but they've got to have special rooms where there's no whatever. I'm going, holy mackerel. Welcome to the real world, And there's other millennials who are as tough as nails. This is the biggest opportunity they've ever had. So it just depends upon what's between this year and this year and what's in your heart. That's it. I always say quit your job, but that's not, I don't have a job. I've only had one job. And I never wanted a job after that because I had to be hungry. But we're all different. We're humans, we're different beings. If I show you this diagram here, it's why I created my cash flow board game. Because we have 4 different intelligences. We have mental intelligence, we have physical to make, football and all that, emotional intelligence, but spiritual intelligence. So I went to military school in New York. The first thing is spiritual. I become a Marine, it's spiritual. You know what I mean? Because you're putting your life on the frickin' line. So Nassim Taleb, he wrote the book, The Black Swan. He says there's 3 kinds of people in the world. There's fragile. And that's what our school systems are putting out. Fragile, wimpy, snowflakes. And that's your choice. You want to be that way? Have a good life. The second type is that, so a fragile is like a champagne flute. You hit it, it shatters. Then the second one is called robust. And a robust person is like the rock. You can pound on them, dump on them. They take it. But that's all they do. They take it. And then anti-fragile is somebody like you where they pound the crap out of you and you get smarter and better because of it. So I love Nassim Taleb. A lot of people call him Dr. Doom. But the way I look at this whole thing, this economy is probably going into a depression. We're not going to get out of this. And so the thing is this good for you or bad for you? I'm looking forward to it. The last crash was 2008. And I made more money in 2008 than in my whole life. So this one here, I'm going to get even richer. But other people are going to get poor. And if they're baby boomers, they're going to blame it on this coronavirus. Oh, my health. Hey, hit the road. Put on some running shoes. Change your diet. Get some sunlight. Get healthy. Don't be a wimp. But, oh, no, I'm so afraid of dying. I'm going, you're already dead. You don't even know it yet. In the Marine Corps, we used to call them corpse people. A corpseman is a person who's dead but doesn't know it. They're so afraid of dying. They're already dead. This is the best time to be alive right now. The lesson is here, you got to choose your teachers wisely. When the market crashed in 2008, guess how much money I borrowed? $300 million. Because interest rates were dropping and real estate prices were going to the toilet. And when I walk into my banker, this report has about a financial statement. Income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flow. It's a book on accounting. People don't even know it's a book on accounting. So I walked into my bank with my partner and had all this property that was floating to the surface. And I say, I'll take them off your hands. Give me the money to buy the property. That's cojones. Give me the money and I'll buy your properties for you. So it depends. And this is my whole thing. I'm now 700 million, almost $1 billion in debt. You know why? Because I don't pay any taxes. The more debt I have, the less tax I pay. And the average guy goes, how do you do that? Because you have bad teachers. And so it's this whole thing that you got to choose your teachers wisely. I don't touch that garbage that Wall Street puts out. I don't have a 401k. I don't have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. Doesn't mean you shouldn't, but I don't need them. And the other part is, look, for you young guys, the best teachers are not in colleges. The best teachers are on YouTube. Wake up. The fake teachers are in colleges. They're telling you to get a job, the corporate ladder. You know, Patrick David said it the best, and I love that guy. He says there's two kinds of leaders, wartime and peacetime. And a peacetime leader is a guy like my poor dad. He goes through all the right schools. He has all the degrees and credentials. He does all the right things. He climbs the corporate or the government ladder and all that. Well, a wartime leader goes to war. So Steve Jobs is a wartime leader. I'm a wartime leader. The difference is I went to war twice on the front lines. You know what happened? So I joined the Marine Corps. I learned to fly. I go to Camp Pendleton. I strap on my weapons. I go to advanced weapons in Camp Pendleton. I go to Okinawa, and then they send me into Vietnam. And I came out of Vietnam about 4 months later, back to restage in Okinawa. And I thought everybody had changed. I looked at the fellow Marines. I had been to war. It's different when somebody's trying to kill you. Every single mission, I went down 3 times. And I came back stronger and tougher. So I come back to Okinawa, I got like a week off, and they're going to ship me back into Vietnam again. I said, what happened to these guys? And it wasn't that they changed, I changed. So what happens to entrepreneurs who go out and they get their ass handed to them and they survive, if you survive, you see a different world. Whereas some peacetime who's climbing the corporate ladder right now, they just lost their job, they're sucking their thumb. You know, this is the worst time for them. Yet for a wartime leader, it's the best of times. If you're an entrepreneur right now, the world's open to you. If you're an employee, your world's dead to you. An entrepreneur can create their own success. That's what it comes down to. So this is the best of times for the wartime guys. Horrible time for peacetime. You can't make money now. You should hang it up. I tell all you frickin' millennials, man. You know, I don't know where it is. I got this iPhone. If you can't make money with that, hang it up. You can't make money with an iPhone through social media, through marketing. You have the world at your fingertips and you can't make money. The problem is between this ear and this ear. It's not out here, it's in here. That's why you've got to choose your teachers wisely. So let me just say it again. The best teachers are on YouTube. Make up your mind what you want to listen to. I'm just being real. Look, if you're poor right now, it was called look in the mirror. That's what Rick had always said to me. He says, if you're looking in the mirror right now and you see a loser, that's what you are. You can't make money in this economy. You better change your thinking. You know, hindsight is 2020. If you're looking and you don't have any money, you don't have a job, your boyfriend or girlfriend has left you, how did I get here? There was a great book called, Gulag Archipelago by Solzhenitsyn. So he gets thrown in a concentration camp or a gulag in Siberia. And he says, how did I get here? You know how he got there? Because he was a peacetime leader, didn't fight back. So people are being sold the bill. Go to school, get a job, pay taxes, save money, get out of debt, buy a house. The house is an asset, and invest for the long term in a well-defined portfolio of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. And I do none of that because I don't have to do that crap. That's Kool-Aid. Go to school. Well, what did they teach you about money? Nothing. Get a job. You pay the highest taxes. Pay your taxes. I don't pay taxes. Get out of debt. Well, money is debt after 1971 if you know your history of money. Your house is not an asset. Your house is a liability. And why would I invest for the long term in the stock market when I can make my own assets? I don't need the stock market. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I create my own assets. I create my own cash flow. I'm an entrepreneur. Most people are employees. They're looking for jobs. I'm just looking for. I made a fortune in 2008. I'm making more money and I'm paying less taxes. It doesn't mean I don't have problems, but I'm prepared for this. There's two kinds of discipline. There's internal or self-discipline, and then there's external discipline. So right now, if the world's kicking your butt, that's external discipline. And if you're self-disciplined, the world's kissing your butt right now. It's up to you. So that's why I love the Marine Corps. That's why I love going to military school and not a university, because I got my ass kicked every single frickin' day. First word I had to learn at the academy, mission. Mission is spiritual. What's your mission? And my mission has always been to serve people. Most people, all they give a fuck is making money and screwing people. That's called the Federal Reserve Bank, Wall Street, and all that. I want nothing to do with them. So I just don't play their game. But you have to get smarter not to play their game. So choose your teachers wisely. That's what I say, because I have to choose between my rich dad and my poor dad. My poor dad, PhD, poor, helpless, and desperate. And that's what he wanted me to do when I came back from Vietnam, was get my master's degree, get my PhD, and fly for the airlines. If I had done that, My friends who flew for United, they're broke. You know why they're broke? Because Wall Street stole their pensions. It's called an ESOP, Employee Stock Option Plan. The biggest crisis coming up right now after this pandemic is pensions are going to crash. That's right. You got it, man. Because they're empty. Wall Street looted them. My God, wake up. Wake up. The Federal Reserve has only one purpose, is to keep the rich rich. That's their only job. So every time the market crashes, as you notice, money pumps in, they pump the prices up, the rich exit. So what's happening to the poor and middle class with their 401k and IRA right now are set? That's like saying, okay, put the handcuffs on the Titanic. It's going down. Meanwhile, the rich have got their G5 flying in to pick them up and get off the boat. They're out. Because the problem isn't in the stock market, the problem's in the repo market, commercial paper market. They don't tell you that. They don't teach you that in school. So suddenly, voila, in September, the shadow banking, which is corporate credit and commercial paper market, started to go bad in September. Oh, suddenly, pandemic. Oh, that was interesting. Funny how that appeared, So I'm not saying the pandemic isn't real. I'm saying the real crisis, it's a smokescreen for the real crisis going on right now. They're stealing your wealth through your pensions, your 401k, your IRA, through Social Security, through your taxes, through Medicare. That's why we have socialism kicking in right now. We have Bernie Sanders and AOC and Elizabeth Warren, hardcore socialists. But if you really have a financial education, we're going from capitalists, which I am. And nothing wrong with a socialist. There are some people, 20% of the people need to be given money because they're unable. They're not able to. So we should give some people money, but not everybody. So we're going from capitalism to Bernie Sanders socialism and Hillary and all those guys. And then we're actually going to communism. And you can see it right now because Boeing is asking for a bailout and all the guys asking for bailouts. But this time, the Fed's going to take percentage ownership. Yes, that's communism, central control of the economy. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's coming. But that's what they should teach us in school. And our school teachers, most of them are socialists and some of them are communists. They want the government to tell us what to do. They're really fascist. They're really fascist. A fascist wants to tell you what to do. That's what's going on. And then they're printing money under all this scheme. So if you study real world, we've lost our freedom of speech. That's what Stalin took away. And social distancing is the right to assembly, which is why there was a Revolutionary War back in 1776. The Americans had to go hide in a church because the British would kill them if they were caught assembling. History repeats. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but most people aren't taught this. That's why I love going to military school versus university. We're taught military history. History is bullshit. To the victor goes history. So the person that wins the war writes history to justify their position today. It's called his story. The loser doesn't get to tell their story. So anyway, that's where we're at. And I just leave it to your generation. You guys are in the best position ever because you're still young. You're tech savvy, which baby boomers aren't. So they're old. A lot of them are feeble and they're gone. So you guys have the world ahead of you. The Fed is not a bank. It's a cartel owned by the richest guys on earth. You guys just wake up, So anyway, the Fed is a cartel. So when I saw Bitcoin come out, it's open source. It's people's money. Gold and silver are God's money. So my whole objective is my system of business, but I'm buying gold and silver. I store it in other countries legally because you can't just move that stuff. You have to move it legally and declare it. So I move my money legally. I want to get out of this country. So I keep my wealth outside this country, not because of my government. It's because there's so many people, you're going to see lawsuits are going to go up because people are desperate. They don't have any money. So when the economy gets bad, have you been in an accident? Have you been hurt? I'll come out sue them for you. So if you don't have the right corporate entity like LLCs, C corporations, S corporations, offshore accounts, money is going to be stolen. It's the real game. Your pensions, you watch in a few years, he did tell us our pensions are gone. You know what's going to happen? They're going to bail them out again. Bailout is the name of the game.